Good afternoon, friends. This is Dennis Miracle. Today I'll be preparing for you a purse I'm calling the Sawmill purse, 6 by 10 in size, or for the 6 by 10 hoop. So the first thing to do, as I have done, is I have hooped my stabilizer, which I just use paper towels. And let me run this over to the machine, and I also forgot to pick up a zipper in the other room, so let me run the first step, which will be the placement for the zipper and the general outline of the purse. So let me do that and I'll be right back. Alrighty, I'm back from the embroidery machine, and as you can see, the placement stitches have been sewn, and I'm going to take now my zipper, which I'm going to use this black zipper for this project. And if it's a number 3 zipper, it should be approximately 1 inch wide, and assuming it is a 1 inch wide, it should fit perfectly between this line here and this top line. So I'm going to put it right between them, and let me look. Yes, and it should be perfect. So let me tape them down. Okay, that's trying to get out away from me. Okay. Alrighty, let me put one here at the bottom. And one in the center. Okay, just on the edge. Alrighty. So I'm going to take it back to the sewing machine, and the next step, step number 2, we'll tack down the zipper. So be right back. Alright, you can barely see that I have had the zipper sewn down. And let me reach over and grab the next 2 items we're going to need, which are the front fabric, the lining fabric. It took me a second to think of that. Good Lord. Anyhow, so let me grab that, and which is right here beside me. So I'm going to turn the hoop over to the back side, and I'm going to take this piece of beautiful blue fabric. I'm going to put it face down, and I'm going to line it up with this bottom. There are 4 lines here, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to line the edge of the fabric up with this last line here. Make sure it's centered in between also. And let me tape it down. I have to put one in the middle for a good measure. And alrighty, now I'm going to take it and just kind of let this roll over to the front, and I'm going to take and fold this over several times, or at least one time, and tape it down here. We won't be needing the lining for quite a few steps. So. Alright, I have already made a mistake, and I put fabric down on the front, which was not what I wanted to do. I wanted to put the fabric down that would be the solid color, which is actually going to be a piece of fake leather, and so this is a piece that will go down first, your background piece, not your 2 pieces of applique. So take whatever you're going to use, put it face down, and tape it right at the edge of the zipper. And one in the middle there. Now let me take it and run the step that will tack this down the back. Okay, I wanted to check the back and make sure that it had been sewn down, and it has been, in fact. And then over to the front, it has been sewn down also. So we're going to take and just fold it over Well, I'm going to remove this tape here on the side, number one. So let's take those pieces off and then fold it down the best you can. And I'm going to take it to the iron, and I'm going to put several pieces of cotton fabric over this, and so it doesn't completely destroy this fake leather, because it will just ruin it in about a nanosecond. So I'm going to take several pieces of cloth and put over it and try to get it to have a little crease here. So I'll be right back. All right, that really didn't do much. I was afraid I'd destroy it, so I'm going to just do the best I can. What I am going to do is take and lift it up, and I have cut, I'm using this, whatever this material is, as batting, and it's got a nice little cushiness to it. It's about 1/8 of an inch thick. So I'm going to take and place it. I have cut it, instead of my regular 7 by 11, I've cut it 6 by 11. So it's 11 inches this way across and 6 inches down. I'm going to take my top fabric and fold it over as best I can. And I'm going to tape it here and hopefully keep it out of the, I don't want the zipper to be, I don't want it to be making it where the zipper won't open and close, so that's my only concern. So let me go over to the machine and run this next step, which will sew around all 4 sides of this piece, and anyhow, hopefully it will hold it down away from the zipper. So I'll be right back. All right, now you can see that it has been sewn down, and then the next step is to take it back to the machine, and it will sew down the sawmill, the little saw blades, which is a fill, the saw blade fill, and that won't take but a few minutes, and I'll do that and be right back. Yeah, I've had this pretty fill put on here. It looks like a saw blade. So the next thing to do is I'm going to put this back in the machine, and it will stitch the placement stitch for the first piece of applique right over this. We're just going to cover it up. What we don't, you know, what's not going to be out will be just covered up. So let me do that, and I'll be right back. Alrighty, I have had this put on the applique. It's difficult to see. It's a sideways triangle. Hopefully you can see it right here. And I'm going to take my piece of fabric, this dragon fabric, and I'm going to put it where it's covered, the triangle, and this looks like it's fine. And I'm going to tape it down, which I usually don't do much taping, but it will slide on this fake leather. Alrighty, I'm going to take it back over and have it tacked down. Okay, I'm excuse me, back from the embroidery machine, and it has tacked this down using a small zigzag stitch, and so I'm going to take and just cut around the zigzag stitch and remove the rest of what's left of this piece, and after that will be the satin stitching, but I'll be back and show you in just a moment what this looks like before I do the satin stitching. So hold on for a minute and I'll be back. Okay, I wanted to just show you before the satin stitching commenced that I have left, I've cut on this side and this side, but I'm leaving this here, so this will be caught in the seam when it's sewn together at the very end, the last several steps. So I just want you to see that. Just do leave that, leave a little overhang here on the exterior outside piece, or exterior side, or the side of the piece. I'll get it out. And so I'm gonna now put in the machine, and the satin stitching will occur, so be right back. Okay, Now you can see that the satin stitching has been done. And this piece of fabric I'm using was just one that I had cut like all my other 7 by 11, and I had just cut it in two to be 7 by 5.5, and it fit over here perfectly with room on the sides. So the next thing it'll do is it'll do this exact same triangle on this side. So the placement stitch will be first, and let me go and do that. Okay, like the last time, you can probably just barely see the triangle, but it is here. And so let me take this other, let me turn it this way. So let me take this other piece of fabric and place it. Looks like this is the correct orientation. So, alrighty, let me tape it down. And now it will do the tack down. So I'll be right back. Okay, that has been tacked down again with the small zigzag stitches. So let me take off this tape, and I will just cut this, and again leaving this over here in the I'll call it the margin out to the side. Leave that alone. Just cut from here and here. So I'll be right back. All right, you can see that I have cut and left this alone over here. So let me put it in the machine and let it do the satin stitching, and after that's done I'll be right back. Alrighty, you see now the main sewing is done, and the next thing we have to do now that the main sewing is over on the front, we need to release this piece here of lining and let it fall to the back, and take out these other pieces of tape. Excuse me. And on both sides, take out this piece of tape and fold this down, fold the lining down, and take one where it's nice and taut. Take another couple pieces of tape and tape this down on the back side, and put it in the machine, and it will sew around the four sides like an earlier step did. It's the exact same step, only repeated. So let me go ahead and do that, and I'll be right back. Okay, I had forgotten to do this step and had already pulled open the zipper and removed the tape over here on the side. So the zipper's already open. Now I'm going to place my little connectors for the straps, and I place them about an inch in from the sides, and I usually use the line here to line the top of the metal ring, line that up there, and then just take and tape it down in two places, right there and also right on the metal ring, so the metal ring doesn't somehow get under your presser foot and wreak havoc. So let me see, that looks about right. Okay, now take your other, whatever's going to be your back piece, which mine is going to be the same as his pretty dragon material. I'm not into dragons, but I think this is really colorful. So take it, and it looks like dragons facing that. Well, they're all facing all different ways, but I'm going to call this the right orientation as we're looking at it. So I'm just going to turn it over like this and line it up to cover what we've already got down here. Make sure you're at least a 1/4 inch over the top of the zipper here, and that looks good on both sides or all sides. And then take your other piece of batting, whatever you're using, and place it over that, and take it to the machine and sew this down. All right, the front is now enclosed, or the bag is now enclosed on all four sides. Turn the bag over to the back and take your last piece of fabric, which should be your piece of lining, and take your lining and cover as you did before. Cover and make sure you've got 1/4 inch or so over the zipper at the top, and start taping. Tape all four corners down. Alrighty, and then take it over to the sewing machine or the embroidery machine, and it will do the last step, which I think is 14. It'll just sew this back on. So let me take it over there and get that done, and then we'll move on to the rest of the bag. Alright, what that did for us is put the back on the last piece of lining and left it a nice area to put our hands in so we can turn the bag the first time. The bag gets turned twice ultimately, but this is for the first time. So at this point, take your bag out of the hoop. There. Okay, now it's out of the hoop, and you're going to take your scissors, and I always cut from this side here. Start, and I have a pair of scissors for once here. Start and cut at an angle right here by where the stitching starts or ends, depending on your perspective. Go all the way around about 1/4 inch on the exterior of the bag, all across the top, down the side, and when you get over here, do a little, cut it like this in a little bit of a angle, and don't mess with this part here until until we resume, because I'll have some special instructions for you. So just cut this exterior on the 3 sides right now, and down here to the where the opening is. So I'll be right back. All right, now you see we've got these 2 pieces of lining, and then we have all of this whole collection of junk here, which that's what it is at this point. So take your scissors and just cut about where my scissor head is, about 1/8 of an inch away from the fabric here, and just remove this and throw it away, because there's nothing to be done with it unless you have, let me see, actually there is a good size piece of this faux leather, which is great for making my little attachments, so I will try to keep that, but other than that, the rest can go in the trash. Okay, I have done that now and removed all that junk, and so now let's turn the first turn the bag out through here. Okay, I'm not even going to bother with this down here because, well, I have, what am I saying? Yes, I am. This is the second turning. I was thinking there was one more, but this is the second turning. So try to get your corners out as well as you can, and it's not easy, but there we are. That's pretty good. All right, now we have to take, and thankfully I use this all the time. I use the paper towels, but I'm going to take and kind of prick that right there and get that started. And well, that didn't do it. Okay. All right, pull that off there. It's easy to pull off when it's only paper towels. And take and remove with either a knife or scissors, whatever you're using as batting, from along the zipper here. It's that time to do that, so let me see. And I don't have any fingernails. That's not helping. All right. Okay. Get that off of there. That's pretty good. I'll work on it a little bit more after I turn the camera off. But, okay. Alrighty. And then I'm going to take and go around and cut off all these little pieces of thread that we always have when we're sewing. So I'm going to do that, and then I will be going to the iron and taking and folding this. There's two pieces always, a shorter and a longer piece. Take the shorter piece and fold it in and give it a crease, or actually I always do this at the iron, so I will be going to the iron, but take the longer piece and fold it in where I've cut these little angles. That kind of helps to hold it in there. So go ahead and do that, and take this to the iron and iron it down well, because as soon as we finished with the ironing, we're going to sew this shut, and we're almost done. And actually, no, that was the first turning one. I don't know what I'm thinking of. My mind's not good today. So anyhow, let me go and do the iron, use the iron, and I'll be right back. All right, I have tucked this in and now sewn it shut, and it should stay that way. It should be fine. Now I'm going to reach in through the top and turn it out. I'm going to reach in and first grab, I see a piece of tape that I held down the little ring with, and let me try to remove that first, and I fill the other one. So just reach in and turn it out. Just about got this out, these corners out. Alrighty, now let me turn this out. You just kind of have to massage the bag to get it where you want it, and that looks good. And I'm going to take it to the iron and cover it again with quite a few pieces of fabric so I don't melt the fake leather. So I'll be back in a moment, show you how it's come out. Okay, this is how it's turned out. I think it looks great. Very pretty colors. I hope you've enjoyed watching me make this today. I've had an unusual number of boo-boos of mistakes, but that's just the way sewing is, or life in general. So anyhow, I really appreciate you watching and taking time out of your day, and I appreciate so much you purchasing my electronic patterns, embroidery patterns, and I'll be back. I've got 5 or 6 always of designs coming down the pipe, so I'll be back in a day or two with another design and another video, and I will see you then. Have a great rest of the day. Bye-bye.